Hello, welcome. Can you hear me, Manoj?
I can, but can you be a bit more louder?
Yes. So, welcome to Writersmelon. I'm Priyanka, and this is one more episode of Author's Corner. And today we have author Manoj Arora, who has written a book called FOOPS. It's a collection of 30 stories that basically talks about the most common financial mistakes. So, it's a collection of those financial mistakes that we make in our quest to create wealth. So let's start right away. So what led you to write this book, and tell us more about this book itself. Oops.
Okay, so the entire concept of FOOPS was that we learn a lot about personal finance while we read books, we read articles, blogs, so much stuff we do. But we still continue to do certain set of mistakes again and again as far as our own portfolios are concerned. So the idea of the book was to try to correlate certain common mistakes that we continue to do, in spite of knowing that it's a mistake. And I say this that most people keep doing these mistakes because I have interacted with thousands of freedom seekers, financial freedom seekers across the globe, and I realized that, I mean, it looks stupid that they continue to do the same mistake, but probably they're not realizing that they're doing a mistake. And that's where, I tried to connect these common mistakes with real life situations. And I termed it as FOOPS because, when you realize it's a mistake, I mean, it's a oops is the first word that comes out of
Financial
your
oops.
mouth, and it's a financial oops moment for you. And
Okay,
the earlier you take action on that, the better for your portfolio. So that's how, the
absolutely.
concept originated. And, again, just taking a little bit more time in terms of this title, Foops, I was reading a book called as Anti-Fragile by Nicholas Taleb. And I wanted to keep a name of the book which didn't exist earlier. Okay. And it should
Okay.
convey a certain meaning, just like anti-fragile was never a word earlier, and it became famous only after Nicholas, titled the book.
The same
So
author who
that's how,
wrote Black Swan, right?
I yeah, sorry.
The same author who wrote Black Swan, right? Nicholas Taleb.
Yes, exactly.
Even that's a
So
word which never existed,
that's
right?
how this
Yeah.
originated. Your voice is still a little quite low, Priyanka. Maybe I don't know. Some
Okay.
setting needs. Yeah. No.
Okay, please go ahead. Meanwhile I'll just check.
Yeah. So that's how, the title originated, and the top 30 such movements we collected from all across the globe, of all Indian investors who have been investing in various countries, and they've been interacting with us, and I know what mistakes they do. So that's how we collected these top 30 mistakes and collated them in this particular book, and it's in front of you right now.
Okay, it's another mic check. Is the voice coming okay now?
It's slightly better, I would say.
Slightly better. Okay. So let's directly jump into the mistakes. I wrote down a couple of them because it's a
Mhm.
collection of 30 of them. So obviously we won't be able to
Yeah,
discuss 30, but some of my
yeah,
favorites. Number one is opportunity cost. I think this is something that we all struggle with. कि startup करना है या job करना है. So we forget that it's not just 3 years of struggle to get your funding, but it's also 3 years of not having a salary. So we often don't keep into account the opportunity cost of that time. And
right.
please give us some examples. How would you like explain it, and how to actually, after we realize it, how to come out of it, how to really go about it?
Yeah, I mean, this is a very, very common mistake. I think one of the examples I gave in the book also was, and this is a real life example, it's not something which I made up a story or anything. One of my friends, when I was working in TCS, she went to a movie with her husband. I don't know whether you got a chance to read that or not. And they spent $1,000, entered
Yes.
the cinema hall, and now they realize that the movie isn't really worth spending 3 hours. You know,
Yes.
so what do they do? Now they have a decision to make. They have spent ₹1,000, that's gone. So they can either, kind of extract the best out of ₹1,000. That's the thinking that many of the people have. While they don't realize that these 3 hours can now be utilized for something much more useful, I
Yes.
would say, rather than
Yes.
just spending time in that cinema hall watching a dumb movie.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
So this is where every moment we have a decision to make, and even if we don't make a decision, we are by default trying to we are by default making a decision to stick along whatever we had decided earlier. And
Yes.
coming to personal finance, I mean, this is every day in day out story we hear. Somebody bought a real estate for 50 lakhs 3 years back. Today it's 48 lakhs. Now he's very clear. That guy is very clear. Unless it comes back to 50 lakhs, I'm not going to sell it because I don't want to sell it in a loss. Now the problem is that 48 lakhs, which has been lying for 3 years and probably will lie for another couple of years before it crosses 50 lakhs, if he comes out today with a loss of 2 lakhs and invests that 48 lakhs in somewhere where he's more confident of returns, and let's say we can get 7-8% kind of returns, just imagine in 2 years 8% per year, which is of 48 lakhs, which is roughly around 4.5 lakhs, and 2 years it's around what 9-10 lakhs. So he would have lost 10 lakhs by trying to recover 2 lakhs. Now that's the
Yeah.
problem. So he's
Yeah.
lost an opportunity to gain 10 lakhs by trying to recover that 2 lakhs. So that's the dilemma that investors face day in, day out. It's not only with real
Absolutely.
estate and things, even with stocks, people buy stocks. Um, let's forget the methodology they use to buy stocks, but they buy stocks, and there are times when stocks will go down, and people, without really analyzing whether it's really worth holding it or not, they will just hold on to it because they don't want to sell it in a loss. They're forgetting
Yeah.
that there's an
Yeah.
opportunity waiting for them to come out of
Put
it,
it
even if
somewhere
it's in a
else.
loss, and invest it in a better avenue. That's and that's very common with everyone, including me. I
Yes.
mean, we keep doing it. We have to consciously keep reminding ourselves that, I mean, we have to really be very, very conscious about it because we don't know these hoops movements happen subconsciously. We feel that's the
Yes.
normal, but we're not really appreciating what we're losing. You know.
Yes, there is also this concept of sunk cost, right? Like it's already gone. So if that money is gone, then it's instead of trying to like salvage the entire thing, at least get out what you can in the right time,
Yeah.
rather than like letting it go completely. Which brings me to my next
Yeah.
point, which is called, yeah. Please go ahead. If you want
Yeah,
to
I
add
mean,
something to that.
the sunk cost concept, the I see people don't think it like that. People are not see accepting a loss in an investment means accepting the fact that you made a wrong decision.
Hmm.
Okay, that's not easy for anyone to really fathom here that I made a wrong decision. That's not possible. So at least let it come back to this course. Whether it will come back or not, nobody knows. Okay, they
Yes.
haven't really done any analysis. They don't know whether it's really worth continuing to invest or not. But they are not ready to accept that loss making is a part of investing, that we can
Hmm.
do mistakes. These are the basic things. So again, investing comes back to less being technical and more being, how your attitude is towards investing. It comes back to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Another thing that I really like is the law of percentages. So I remember in news, hearing the news sometimes. So sometimes back when it was like COVID. So if let's say there are 100 cases today and tomorrow there are 500 cases, so people will say in the news they will say 1400% rise. So so sometimes those percentages look very scary, but sometimes those percentages are also something that are giving you a true picture. So tell us, how should one learn this law of percentages? How would you like break it down for somebody who doesn't necessarily pay attention to those percentages, which are at times very misleading, and at
Yeah.
times
I mean,
also very
yeah.
clear. But
Yeah. So, see, again, the problem is that how our mind plays with us. Let's say a few years back we were earning 8% returns from fixed deposits, right? Now the returns are what, around 6% or so. Okay? And many people do invest in fixed deposits as a part of balanced portfolio. I mean, the basic mindset is that okay, it's come down from 8% to 6%. Okay, that's a 2% fall. But that's
hmm,
it. Once you think like that it's a 2% fall, you have made a blunder because it's not a 2% fall.
yes,
It is actually a 25% fall because the fall of
20,
2% is on a base of 8%. Now, the problem is
yes,
that this is simple mathematics, but we've learned all that. We have read all that. We may have taught the class also while we
Yes.
in
Yes.
mathematics probably while we were reading it. But when it comes to applying it in our own life, including
Yes.
personal finance, we are a failure. Actually, it's, I mean,
Yes.
that's what I've
Absolutely.
seen with while I've interacted with many CFOs. I mean, the financial experts in their own organizations, they handle millions of dollars of finance in their organization, but they do not know, for example, how to calculate a return on investment. I mean, except
Hmm.
for fixed return instruments like fixed deposits or PPA, BPM, these are fixed return instruments. If you ask them, okay, calculate the returns of a mutual fund where you have invested every month and withdrawn somewhere in between, nobody knows. It's as the problem is again that we have not taken personal finance seriously. We think
Yes.
it'll happen automatically. Something will happen. We'll have enough money in life. I mean, we have just not taken it seriously. I mean, it's been very casual approach to it, and we do very very simple things with people. We ask them to list down all your assets, list down all your liabilities, list down the ROI of each asset. Oh, that's a huge exercise. People don't know what their assets are. Where are they lying? Okay,
Yes.
they say, I don't know what's my EPF balance. I mean, that's the situation today. So percentages, I mean, is one specific concept, but generally in mathematics, it's been a big challenge.
Yes.
Dealing with some of the best financial guys, simple mathematical equations, they're not able to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, just the example that you gave that FD percentage is down 8% to 6%, we would say normally we would say it's a 2%, but if you look at it from a financial or mathematical, like a pure mathematical point of view, it's actually a 25% drop. So
Yeah,
nobody would really think it like 25% drop. So they might as well not do an FD and do something else, which is not that much of a
correct.
which hasn't gone
Correct. I
down
mean,
so
their
drastically in the last few
yeah, so
years.
their returns have gone down by 25%. That's how they have to say
Yes.
it. I mean,
Yes. Yes.
so
Exactly.
anyway, so yeah.
Exactly. So you're saying that people don't take personal finance that seriously. So suppose there is somebody who is, let's say, just started their job. Like I remember 10 years ago, I would just do investments which are like really mandatory for that ATC and that that 1 lakh bracket that you have to do. So we would just go and buy some insurance or some SIP just to maintain that minimum criteria so that there is a tax saving kind of a thing. So what how do you think somebody should approach this personal finance thing right from the time they start earning, or should they think or should they do it like after they have, like, let's say, worked for 5 or 10 years, they should be really serious about it?
Okay, so there are multiple questions in here, Priyanka, and uh, first thing I would like to say is the worst reason to do an investment is to save taxes. Okay, and I have done all those mistakes. Don't I mean I'm not I am not a supernatural guy, so I've done all these mistakes. I have invested in LIC policies. I have done so many investments just to save taxes at the last day of March.
Yes.
We do those investments, and you
Yes.
see these advertisements coming up only in March in terms of
Yes.
LIC policies and healthcare and whatever else. So all trying people to save taxes, but they're not realizing to save X amount of tax, they are dumping in 10x amount of money, locking in it for 30 years
Into
with pathetic
something
returns.
useless. Yeah.
Nobody thinks about that. So
Yes.
that's first point that I mean tax saving is not a criteria to do investments. When you have two equally good investments, then you can probably look at okay, which one helps me save more tax, and that's a separate
Okay.
scenario. But just because you want to save tax, you will invest. That's not a right approach. Secondly, in terms of when should we start and how should we approach, so the biggest lever that you have for massive wealth creation is time. Okay,
Hmm.
if you look at Warren Buffett, yes, he's been a great investor, no doubt about that. But I can tell you so many names which are even better investors than Warren Buffett, smarter investors than Warren Buffett. But still, he becomes the richest guy, probably the most famous guy. Why? Because of the time when he started investing. He started investing at the age of 11. Okay, he's been investing for 75 years. That's almost three quarters of a century. Okay, he's been investing and investing and investing. The time leads to compounding. and compounding is
Yes.
magical. So if
Yes.
you delay your investing by 1 year, you're probably going to have a lot of effort you're going to put to really recover that 1 year loss. Okay, you can't just recover it by investing for one extra year. It's like I start investing in 2010 and finish investing in 2020 as an example, and somebody else starts investing in 2009 instead of 2010. He doesn't need to invest till 2019. He doesn't need to invest for 10 years because he started 1 year early. He can do the same. He can create the same wealth in probably 6 or 7 years. That's the magic of
It's the power
starting
of
early.
compounding.
So
Yeah.
you got to start as soon as you have money in hand. And that doesn't mean you have to have a job or a business or anything. My kids invest. Okay, they may not be investing in stocks and mutual funds and risky investments, or probably the investments which they don't understand. They may be investing in simple fixed deposits and PPF stuff and other. But they still invest. They have started at an age, which I mean, half the age, probably one third the age when I started investing actually seriously. Okay, and I mean that's going to they're going to realize the magic of compounding probably 10 years down the line. I mean, the edge that they have over anybody else when they start investing at the age of 15, 16, 17, through their pocket monies, the saving through their pocket money. I mean, that's what I was trying to tell you, that anybody who has even 100 rupees of saving a month through pocket money should start investing. Okay, doesn't mean you have to invest in something hi-fi. You have to just start investing, start saving, start investing. That habit should get in.
So basically, the basic difference between savings and investing is in savings, you are not taking the advantage of the market growth or the appreciation that your wealth may get if you invest it into certain instruments, into certain market linked instruments where it has the potential to grow. So the money starts working for itself basically after a point. So
Yeah, absolutely. I
while
mean, yeah,
well, in India,
sorry.
we focus a lot on savings. I mean, we focus a lot on savings. Even when I can tell you from my personal experience that even when we move abroad and we start earning in different currency, we still have that savings mentality, which is probably very ingrained culturally into us.
Right.
But but eventually, slowly, I realized that how important is actually also investing and making sure that your money is growing either by investing, obviously it's one of the way, and also you look at growth from that perspective also, which I think culturally we are not really taught that way. We always chase other things in life, which is good, but at the same time, this whole concept of investing is not so natural to most of us, especially youngsters, I would say. I mean, it is not a very natural thing. I could count people or my friends in fingers who are really into investments, and when I say investments, it's actually stocks and mutual funds, and not just the FDs or the mandatory LICs of the world.
Yeah,
So
I mean, yeah, you're right. So, uh, but I mean, what I'm seeing in today's generation, of course, there can be exceptions everywhere. People don't want to save also. I mean, things are changing. Uh,
yes.
yeah, youngsters, you see, they want to
Yeah, they're
enjoy.
on minus
So
actually. Yes.
yeah, so I mean, in India, it's not going in the minus state, but whatever they earn, they want to spend, they want to enjoy. They're not
Yes.
looking at
Yes.
10 years down the line or 20 years down the line. They want to see the results today, tomorrow kind of thing. So,
Yes.
so savings also is going to be a big challenge, these habits which probably our generation had, inculcating these habits to our children is not going to be easy because of the
Yes.
environment in which they, I mean, they
Absolutely.
move around. So
Absolutely.
your good point is that yes, savings was definitely one of the habits that we were inculcated by our parents, probably because money was very tight in that generation, one generation above us,
Yes.
and they were kind of forced to, squeeze out savings every month,
True.
put it in FDs or whatever, and somehow have a comfortable life. But today's generation is probably the other side of it. I mean, they don't want any savings. Now, coming to your point in terms of once you have saved, and if the money is just lying, you have to
Yes.
realize that there's something called as inflation. Okay, it's going to kill
Yes.
your money. Okay, 100 rupees today. is going to be worth 90 rupees
90
next
rupees
year.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you have not converted your 100 to 110 by the next year, its actual value will not stay above 100 next year. And so what you're able to buy with 100 rupees today, let's say 1 kg of mangoes, you can't buy next year from 100 rupees. Okay, you have to have 110 rupees in hand, and for that your 100 has to grow to 110. And for that you have to invest. If you don't invest, it won't grow. So the minimum that you need to get from your investments is returns
Beat the
which are above your
inflation.
running inflation. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and I mean, that's another question, another chapter, in fact, in that book, which talks about what inflation we are talking about. Is it 6%, 20%, or what is it? I mean, what are we supposed to do? So, anyway, we come
True.
to that later. But so remember, everybody has to remember that if you are not countering inflation, then you're going to have a real tough life. And remember, inflation also compounds, just like your money compounds, inflation compounds. So 6% every year is not on the same base. So from 100, it will become 106. From 106, it will not become 112. It will become 113. Okay, so you have to remember that. So these are simple mistakes all of us do. So yeah, you're
Absolutely.
right. So saving alone will not help. We have to invest.
Okay, now my favorite topic. Tell us about real estate. What do you think about real estate, the investments? And once you really invest in it, what do you think about returning the loans before actually, or like prepaying the loans? So I would really want to know your view on first buying the real estate and second prepaying the loans.
So when you say it's your favorite topic, any specific reason you are about to buy it or what?
No, I just keep, we have been just buying it. So it's like
Uh,
we always take a loan and we are like, okay, now we
uh,
have to buy a house. So this is
uh,
not a very millennial thing, which I think now is changing. People don't
it's
really
changing.
want to own that much.
Yeah,
But I think I still
correct.
come from that school of thought where you don't want to live in rent for forever.
Yeah,
Owning
yeah.
something is important. So how do you see this thing? Because there's so
So
many
I
people
think
who just beg to differ. They say, why do you want to waste your
yes,
night's sleep in buying a real estate?
yes, yes. So even I know a lot of my own relatives. They don't want to buy a house. They want to stay on rent. They earn very well. They can easily afford an EMI, a good EMI, but they don't
Hmm.
want to buy it. And there are advantages and disadvantages to this. But I think
Hmm.
before I come to that, the first important question is whether you're buying real estate for your staying, for your
Hmm.
family, or as an investment. There's two
Investment.
different,
Yeah,
completely
that's
different things.
important.
So as far as real estate as an investment goes, I am strictly against it.
Against it. Yeah.
Unless,
Okay.
I mean, you have some inside information. I mean, you know that this property is suddenly going to boom 20, 30%. I mean, this is very, very rare. And again, it's not in your control.
It's a
Things may or may
luck
not
also.
happen.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I am strictly against it. And there are various reasons for that. See, one generation back in my parents' time, uh, real estate was a very, very good investment. In fact, in my time also, when I was when just new into job, uh, real estate was still a good investment. But things have changed a lot over the last 10, 20 years. You know, mutual funds, online, everything happening online, whether it's investments in terms of mutual funds, stocks, equity, cryptos, FDs, PPF, everything is online. Okay.
Hmm.
Real estate was good because I have seen my father buying shares. So he has to go to a particular agency, fill up a form, apply for shares. He'll get a
Hmm. The
paper
paper. Yeah.
share. To sell a share, I sold some of his shares just a few years back, and I had a nightmare selling them
Yeah.
because you have to, get it dematerialized, and the entire process is a humongous
Is a
process.
pre
So I think the
demat pre demat era basically
yeah,
the.
yeah. So there was huge issue. Signatures were not matching X, Y, Z. So I mean, one generation back, real estate was good, but today, look, if you compare it with the investment options today, it's pathetic because first it's a huge investment that you're blocking. Okay?
Hmm.
Unlike other investments, whether it's stocks, mutual funds, FDs, any debt-based investment, debt
It's
mutual funds,
liquid.
anything.
Basically, other investments are more liquid.
Yeah.
No, it's like you
And
can.
people don't think liquidity is a big thing. People think, okay,
Hmm.
I'm getting 10% return after, I mean, let's say even if it's blocked for 10 years, I'm fine. You don't know how life shapes up. Your portfolio needs to be liquid as much as possible. Okay. And
Hmm.
see, if I've invested 1 crore in real estate and I need 10 lakhs out of it, I can't get it. I'm helpless. I need
Hmm.
some money in emergency. I can't sell it.
Hmm.
Okay, because I mean it will take 6 months to sell.
Sometime, yeah.
Still there is a lot of illegal money involved in real
Yeah.
estate. How am I going to deal with that money? And I have faced all
Hmm.
that. You know, uh, the taxation part, even though there is
Hmm.
a cost inflation benefit given to you, but still you are liable to pay 20% taxes on your entire gains. So, I mean, it's just not the investment I would favor compared to the investment options. And when I look at the returns, okay, how much? I don't know. On an average, real estate never gave you more than 8 to 10% return. Some years may be excellent, some years may be very bad. The average was what, 8%, 9%? That's it. And look at stocks, mutual funds, even debt mutual funds. Just look at, compare real estate with debt mutual funds. Okay, debt mutual funds, much more tax efficient, 100% liquid, similar returns as real estate, no black money involved. You can deposit 10 rupees, withdraw 100 rupees, do anything, any day. Everything online, everything white. It's such a, I mean, relaxed mind when you're investing in the options that are available today. Now, I'm
Options
not even talking about equity mutual funds or stocks where the returns are definitely much higher, but
much
because those
higher.
needs a bit of study and all. But even if you compare it with debt mutual funds, I would still prefer debt mutual funds compared to real estate. Why would I need to maintain a property? I mean, I'm just investing in a debt mutual fund. That's it. My job is done. Whenever I want, I'll withdraw. I'll set up a SWP. I'll set up a systematic withdrawal. Whenever I need
Yes.
my pension, I will just set it up. It'll keep paying me 50,000 rupees a month or 1 lakh rupees a month. I mean, real estate, I can't do that. People still feel that okay, you get returns from
Rent.
renting out your real estate, but again they don't
It's a lot
calculate
of
what's the
headache.
ROI of
Yeah.
that. Okay, the
Yeah.
returns, I once owned a real estate, and when I calculate the returns are never more than 2 to 3%, max 4%. Okay,
Yeah.
and that is 100% taxable. Okay,
Yeah.
and what you have to maintain the real estate
Yes.
to give it
That's
out on rent. What if it's not rented for a few months? There's so many hassles. Why would I want
that's
to get
true.
into such an investment in today's time?
That's true.
So
That's
that's
true.
my view on real estate today.
So buy a house only if you're going to live in that, and not
Yeah,
the
buy a
one that you
house.
just want to make
Uh,
your money grow
yeah,
from.
yeah. I
Cool.
mean, so investments I would rule out, but yeah, if you want to live in it, there is a 50-50 view. Uh, People who are really emotional about having their own house, then of course the financial decisions take a backseat when you have an emotion playing.
Yes.
So then, yeah, it makes sense. Or if you want a house in a very specific location, it makes sense
Hmm.
in some cases. But I personally feel that we should not own it because I personally look at freedom. Okay, I want a
Yeah.
freedom to move around. Okay, my kids would go out. They're just going to be in colleges now. So me and my wife, we are left. Now we want to move out. We want to say, let's say, stay 1 year in Goa, 2 years in Kullu Manali. Why would I have a house in Delhi, which is the most polluted city in the world, or anywhere else? Why would I constrain myself to any location?
Hmm.
Okay,
And what is
and
your
I mean,
view about?
yeah,
Yeah, please
buying
go
a
ahead.
1 crore house, instead of that, I would rather pay 30,000, 40,000 rupees rent and
Yeah.
stay as long as I want to and then move on to. I mean, that's what I personally would say. But yeah, there are
Hmm.
certain
Yeah.
situations
Yeah.
where people want to settle in a particular location and they're emotional
Have a
about having their own
house.
house. Then
Yeah.
they should go ahead and buy it.
Yes. Yes. And what's your thought about prepaying of EMIs? Do you think that makes sense
Prepaying makes sense only for the first couple of years. I mean, if you
when
have
the
a 20-year
interest?
loan, yeah,
Hmm.
and if you cross 3-4 years of paying the loan, then just keep paying. It doesn't make any sense to close it.
Prepay.
You have almost paid all the interest, not all the interest, but a majority of the interest.
Majority of it. Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense now to close the loan because home loans, are available pretty cheap. I mean, six,
Yes.
7% or eight
Yeah,
percent
it's getting
maximum.
better. Yeah,
And
it's just getting
yeah,
better.
and if you have money to prepay, you better invest that money in better
Yes,
options and
exactly.
on 9,
Exactly.
10, 11, 12% rather than giving 7, eight
Giving it
percent.
and
So I
taking
think,
away your liquidity also basically by
yeah,
prepaying it.
absolutely. So prepaying is senseless unless it's done immediately in one or within couple of years of taking the loan.
Amazing. You have also written three other very interesting books. We won't have the time to talk about all of them, but I can just mention their names so that our viewers can definitely go and check out. One is called The Autobiography of a Stock, which I assume will be all about stock markets and how
Yes.
it works. Second is From Rat Race to Financial Freedom. And financial freedom is a term that I think nowadays is used a lot, especially for freelancers, for the whole group of digital nomads who just want to be, financially free all the time. And then the third one is A Father's Diary, 28 life elevating lessons. So these are some of the books that Manoj has written, and I think today we had a very insightful chat. I'm sure a lot of us don't think about these things in life, but they are important. And having the right relationship with money is also very important, because it may not drive you all the time, but a lot of times it really supports your situations and your conditions at a lot of times. So it's good to use it wisely, and hopefully invest it in the right way and by understanding these concepts. So thank you so much, Manoj, for being here. Any last words that you would like to share?
No, thank you, Priyanka. I think you've been a wonderful host, and it's been my pleasure to be with you today, this discussion. The only thing I would like to say to today's generation is start early. That's it. You will find a way how to invest, where to invest, all those things will get sorted out
You
on the
might
way, but
incur
start.
losses also, but that doesn't mean you like just stop
Yeah,
investing,
just keep
because
going. That's it. Start and keep going. You'll find how to move around. You don't need to be an
absolutely.
expert. You just get started. That's the key. Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much, Manoj. Have a very nice
Thank
day
you,
and a very
Priyanka.
nice weekend.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye bye.
bye. Take care.